Hello everybody, mega goal number 1, first secondary. This is the last lesson in unit number 1, big changes, 11 forms, meaning and function, pages 16 and 17. آخر درس في الوحدة الأولى, and this lesson is mainly a revision of something that you have already studied. عبارة عن مراجعة لشيء درستوه من قبل. So I promise you that this lesson will be an easy one. بيكون درس اليوم جدا سهل. Let's take a look at the objectives of today's lesson. الأهداف. The first objective, we should make up sentences using the past simple, make up sentences using the past progressive, and we should also make up sentences using the past progressive plus 1 plus the past simple, and we are gonna answer a couple of the exercises. خلاص يعني بنركز على الماضي البسيط، الماضي المستمر، وبنستخدم الماضي المستمر مع الماضي البسيط، وبجاوب على فقرة pair exercise في كل سؤال عشان أوضح لكم كيف تحلون التمارين. Okay, so move to page 16 and 17 and let's get started. خلونا نبدأ. Okay, the simple past. Before I start, قبل ما أبدأ, I'd like to say something that usually when we discuss any tense, لما عادة نناقش أي زمان, we discuss it from the way how we form it, كيف الطريقة اللي نكونها, whether an affirmative statement, negative statement or question, كيف نكون الأسئلة, كيف نكون الجمل, كيف نكون الأسئلة والجمل والجمل المنفية كذلك. And also we will discuss, راح نناقش clue words اللي هي الكلمات اللي ممكن استخدمها مع أي زمن, وبرضو uses which is الاستخدامات, يعني أي زمن من 3 نواحي: التكوين, الكلمات اللي استخدمها معاها, وبرضو الاستخدامات. خلاص. Now let's start with the clue words. For example, last week, last month, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, yesterday, in 2010, or in 2010, 2018, when I was young, when I was at the university. All of these are some of the clue words that are used with the simple past. بعض الكلمات اللي ممكن استخدمها مع الماضي. Let's take a look at the formation. Formation with the affirmative statement مع الجمل المثبتة. Before we start, I'd like to say إنه بقول لكم إنه we have something called regular verbs اللي هي أفعال منتظمة. Regular verbs are usually verbs which follow a certain rule. الأفعال اللي يتبعون قاعدة معينة, والقاعدة هنا تقول لكم verb plus ed. خلاص. If we want the past form of any of the regular verb, الماضي من الأفعال المنتظمة, فقط نضيف لها ed. خلاص. I'll give you an example. For example, if I say, okay, ask, okay, and the past would be asked, yes. And for example, talked, okay, and added, okay, add, it will be added. All of these are examples of regular verbs. طبعا بنوضح لكم على شغلة that the ed is pronounced differently each time. أنطق ال ed مختلفة في كل مرة. Sometimes the ed is pronounced ed, sometimes it's pronounced d, and sometimes it's pronounced t. خلاص. يعني نطق ال ed يختلف, فيه 3 أنواع من النطق. طبعا هذه معلومة فقط إثرائية بس جدا مهمة, لأن كثير يخطئون في نطق ال ed. طبعا ممكن أسوي لكم فيديو قصير on how to pronounce the ed later on. بسوي لكم فيديو لاحقا كيف أنطق ال ed. Okay, let's move on and let's take a look at the sentence. So, he worked late last night. So this is a sentence, is a simple past, and the verb worked is a regular verb, فعل منتظم. Okay, the irregular verbs, الأفعال الغير منتظمة, they do not follow a certain rule. ما يتبعون قاعدة معينة. So you have to memorize these verbs by heart. لازم تحفظون هذه الأفعال. Especially the most common ones. خصوصا اللي كثير نستخدمهم. So I would recommend that you go to the verb list, إلى قائمة الأفعال, and revise the second form of اللي هي التصريف الثاني من irregular verbs. I'll give you an example. For example, eat. Okay, the past, sorry, I've written the past. Eat, the past from it is ate. Okay, speak. Okay, spoke. Okay, break, broke. All of these are called irregular verb, أفعال غير منتظمة. For example, I bought a new dress yesterday. So the verb bought originally is buy and the past form is bought. So bought is اللي هي اشترى، فعل غير منتظم في الماضي. Okay, so this is pretty much easy، جدا سهل. Now let's move on to the negative statement. A negative means that we have to add not, okay? And usually with the negative form, in the simple past, we use didn't. We use didn't. خلاص. طبعا وانتم عارفين لما تدخل did أو didn't على الفعل يرجع أصلا إلى basic form or the base form of the verb. For example, bought will be didn't buy. يرجع الفعل إلى أصله. Okay? So he didn't work late last night and I didn't buy a new dress yesterday. Both of these examples are a statement in the negative form, جمل منفية. And as you realize, when didn't came, the verb went back to its original form or to the basic form. رجع إلى أصله. So you have to be very careful. خلاص? So this is the negative form. Now with the questions as well as with the question, we use as well did. What do we use? Did. And it has to be did, and then after it the verb plus, sorry, not the verb, I'm sorry. Questions and short answers. Let me just complete this. Questions and short answers. So here, did plus the subject, yes, and then the verb and the basic form and the verb and the continuation, the continuation of the sentence. يعني هنا did بعدين الفاعل بعدين الفعل في المصدر. So let's take a look here. I worked late last night. Okay, I'm just gonna change the order. أغير خلاص and I use did. will I تصير you لأن ما يصح أسأل نفسي. It will be did you work late last night? Yes I did, or no I didn't. طبعا أنتوا تلاحظون لو تلاحظون هنا أنه بالنسبة للI مثل ما قلت لكم تتحول إلى you وفي السؤال في الإجابة ترجع إلى أصلها. خلاص. So did you work late last night؟ وطبعا الفعل يرجع إلى أصله. Okay. I bought a new dress yesterday. It's the same. Did you buy a new dress yesterday? Either yes I did or no I didn't. I just changed the order. أغير الترتيب وأضيف did والفعل يرجع إلى أصله وأصل bought اللي هي buy. And the answer yes I did or no I didn't. Okay? Very easy. Now let's move on to the uses. Of course, when you talk لما تستخدم it's very important to use the exact tense إن إحنا نستخدم الزمن الصحيح. So usually when you're talking about something that happened and finished in the past شيء حصل وانتهى في الماضي including a time frame في وقت محدد I use the simple past. Activities finished in the past and then there is a time frame. For example, he worked late last night. I bought a new dress yesterday. So worked late last night happened in the past and finished in the past. انتهى في الماضي والtime frame اللي هي last night. I bought a new dress yesterday. I bought happened in the past and finished and the time frame is yesterday. Okay, so be careful when you talk about any activities that you did yesterday, last week, last month, last year. You use the simple past. تستخدمون الفعل الماضي. For example, I went shopping yesterday with my friend. I went out with my friends yesterday. And of course, this is very important. الاستخدام جدا مهم. Also, when you ask questions, about something that happened in the past, activities أو حصلت في الماضي، تستخدمون السؤال what did you do last week, last month وهكذا. واضح؟ Now let's move on to the past progressive. Past progressive من اسمه past معناها ماضي، progressive معناها اللي هو مستمر. The past progressive, the formation of the past progressive is, what is it? Was or were plus the verb plus ing. طبعا الverb يكون في المصدر وأضيف ing بالصيغة الصحيحة. وانتوا عارفين إن was مع المفرد were مع الجمع، وعارفين الضمائر اللي تجي مع كل واحد. I was, he was, she was, it was, they were, they were عفوا you were and we were. خلاص رجعوا لهم. الverb in the basic form أضيف له ing، وطبعا في قاعدة ing الصحيحة. Past progressive, he was working last night. Okay, he was eating his lunch yesterday, for example. Negative is pretty easy. You are just gonna add not to was or were. راح أضيف فقط not إلى was or were plus the verb ing. So he wasn't working last night. She wasn't eating her lunch last week. وهكذا. This is just an example. With the questions and the short answer, it's very easy. You are just gonna start with was or were depending on the subject. يعتمد على إيش الفاعل plus the verb plus ing and then the continuation. Okay? So here, so it has to be, he was working last night. Of course, I'm just gonna change the order. بغير الترتيب. It will be was he working and then you continue working last night, question mark, as it's here. طبعا don't forget to start with a capital letter and end your question with a question mark. Was he working last night? Yes, he was, or no, he wasn't. Clear? Very, very easy. خلاص. Now, as for the uses for the past progressive, الاستخدامات للماضي المستمر, we use it actually with activities that started and finished in the past. Okay, بس شو الفرق بينها وبالماضي؟ إنه هو حدث حصل في الماضي وانتهى. الفرق بينهم إن هنا emphasize on the duration المدة. For example, if I say he was working, okay, all night. Okay, this is what we mean by the past progressive. هذا ال past progressive. It means that it lasted for a while. استمرت لفترة في الماضي. خلاص. So emphasize on the duration. خلاص. Is that clear? All night. طول ليلة البارح, for example. Okay. Now we will move on to the last one, which is the past progressive plus one plus the simple past. We can also combine two tenses or two actions together. ممكن نجمع حدثين مع بعض باستخدام الون. هالحدثين اللي هو الماضي المستمر, اللي هو الماضي المستمر, okay, وهنا الماضي البسيط, الماضي البسيط. And this is very easy. You just have to understand the meaning or the uses, عفوا, الاستخدام حقه. I'm going to explain to you first and then I'm going to give you an example. We use this, okay, the past progressive plus one plus the past simple to indicate that a longer continuous action is interrupted by a short one. يعني عندنا حدث استمر لفترة وبعدين طبعا قاطع حدث في الماضي البسيط وانتهى واستمر الحدث الثاني. الحدثين كلاهما في الماضي. أعطيكم مثال. For example, okay, I'm gonna change the font, the color of the font. I was eating what? Okay, eating my dinner, for example, my dinner. Okay, and then I'm gonna add, of course, when. okay, sorry, it has to be in a small letter. لازم تكون small letter. When, okay, my mom came, or my mother came. Okay, and if I ask you how many actions do we have, كم حدث عندنا? We have two. Okay, was eating, which is in the past progressive, and then we have came in the past. خلاص, let's say that this is the timeline, هذا خط الزمن. Okay, so both actions are in the past, في الماضي. خلاص, and she was eating lasted for a while, استمرت لفترة, and it was interrupted by a second action اللي هي came, and finished. okay, and finish انتهى واستمر الحدث الثاني. واضح؟ طبعا دائما أحب أني أقول لكم أن هنا when دائما يجي بعدها ماضي بسيط، فما يصلح أنه يكون when بعدها past progressive، لا. خلاص، وممكن طيب أبدأ بالwhen time word، بس لما أبدأ بالwhen لازم يكون عندي فاصلة بالنص. خلاص، when my mother came, then I have to have comma. لما نبدأ بالtime word خذوها قاعدة. I was eating. طبعا ما يغير في المعنى، فقط في arranging my dinner، فقط ما يغير في المعنى طبعا، فقط يعني في ترتيب الجملة. So is that clear? We use the past progressive plus when plus the past simple to indicate that a longer continuous action is interrupted by a short one, as I explained here. مثل ما وضحت لكم هنا. Now there is something that I should draw your attention to. أبغى أنبهكم عليه based on what's in your book, and this is very important، جدا مهم. That we do not usually use the progressive with verbs like. okay, في أفعال بنستخدم معهم البروجريسيف سواء مضارع أو ماضي. مثلا عندنا كلمات مثل love, like, want, see, smell, taste, hear. فما أقدر أقول was loving، ولا أقدر أقول is loving، ولا أقدر were wanting. خلاص. Oh, this is not acceptable. okay, خطأ. okay, these cannot be used. عادة الأفعال اللي لها علاقة بالمشاعر ما نستخدمهم مع المستمر، سواء مضارع مستمر أو ماضي مستمر. So right now we have covered the simple past tense, and we talked also about the past progressive, and we talked about the past progressive plus one plus the past simple. Right now we are gonna do a couple of exercises. بعض التمارين. It's very easy. Let's take a look at the first exercise, which is exercise A. Okay, do you remember the conversation between Hans and Samir on page 11? You have to go back to this page, and you have a list here. عندكم قائمة. You have to make up true sentences, جمل صحيحة عن المحادثة بين هانس وبين سمير. Use the simple past tense, the present perfect simple, or the simple present tense. خلاص، هذه الأزمنة اللي عندنا. The first one has been answered. جاوب عليها. Let's take a look at the second one. B from Dubai. لما يكون عندنا B مفروض أنكم تعرفون المقصود فيها إما is, are, was, okay, أو الماضي منهم was or were. Okay, so this is what we mean by B. So you remember that Hans, I'm gonna just write the answer here. Hans, okay, of course, is not from Dubai, isn't from Dubai. So who's from Dubai? Oops, sorry. And you remember تذكرون إن Dubai has to be in a capital letter وهانز in a capital letter لأنهم أسماء وبداية طبعا الجملة. Dubai. Okay, but who's from Dubai? You remember? Yes, Samir is from Dubai. Excellent. Very good job. Yes, and you can do the rest by yourself. Here I used طبعا simple past لأنهم حقائق عن أو يعني أو true in general أو شيء يعني صحيح دائما. So Hans is from Dubai, but Samir is from Dubai. Hans isn't. So Now let's move on. Oops, I've answered this already. جاوبت عليه, but we can do it all together. Now you are asked to make up sentences using when. Here you are asked to do sentences using when. Well, you have to follow the example. طبعا عارفين when, من شفتوها هنا القاعدة اللي هي past progressive when والsimple past. خلاص, فقط عليكم انكم تقررون اذا اطلعتوا على الجملة اي action استمر لفترة بستخدمه بالpast progressive, واللي قاطع او قصير بيكون في اي زمن صحيح بيكون في الزمن الماضي البسيط. هنا let's take a look. The people sleep, the earthquake happened. طبعا الناس كانوا نايمين طبعا, والearthquake اللي هي الزلزال حصل. Of course the people were sleeping هو الحدث اللي استمر لفترة في الماضي طبعا, و people جمع فاستخدم معها were sleeping. بعدها when the earthquake happened اللي هي الماضي البسيط. خلاص, very easy, and I can say as well when the earthquake happened the people were sleeping. خلاص, don't forget to add comma, وما أنسى أضيف الكوما إذا بديت بالtime word, إذا بديت بكلمة اللي تشير للزمن. Now letter D, you are asked to complete the text with the past simple tense or the past progressive tense of the verb in parentheses اللي هي بين الأقواس, and you add your own idea. ممكن تضيفون عباراتكم عفوا أفكاركم الخاصة. Now when they were young, my grandparents were very poor. There was no work in their country, so they decided to leave. In September 1971, my grandparents left their hometown in Greece and traveled to Athens. Okay, so travel will be traveled في الماضي. خلاص, لأنه happened in the past, حصل في الماضي, and finished. وطبعا عندنا time frame اللي هو in September 1971 as you could see. So right now we have reached the end of the lesson. انتهى درسنا. I hope that you liked it, and alhamdulillah, thank God that we finished unit number 1, big changes. Don't forget to subscribe, share the video, leave me a comment in the comment box below, and give me a thumb up. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask. لا تترددون في السؤال. I'll see you in the next unit. إن شاء الله راح نبدأ الوحدة الثانية all together very soon. So that's it for now.